So Workspace Studio, which is Google's agentic no-code platform, can now access your notebooks from NotebookLM directly. And if you have been using both of these products, this could be a real game changer for you. Let me explain what's actually new here, because I feel the announcement sort of undersells it. Now, quick refresher on what these two things are, right, in case you haven't touched it. Workspace Studio, which is the no-code automation builder, think of it as Zapier or Make.com, right? But only for Workspace. So you wire up a trigger and some sort of an action. Let's say that a new email arrives. You run a flow, a calendar event ends, you again run a flow. You can plug in AI steps with Gemini along the way, and it could like read or extract or summarize or even write replies for you. It's, I would say, how like non-developers automate the boring parts of their work. Now, the other one is NotebookLM, which probably you have already heard and used, right? So you upload your documents, you also slides, YouTube videos, and all of those things. And then NotebookLM becomes like a really smart memory. And then you can ask questions, you can generate slides, you can generate reports, and obviously you can also now generate videos. The whole point of it is actually grounded, right? It does not hallucinate. Now, until before, these two tools lived in separate universes. Workspace Studio will automate tasks. NotebookLM will hold your team's knowledge like an extended memory. But now they talk to each other. That's the brand new step inside Workspace Studio, which is called Ask NotebookLM. And it lets your flows query your notebooks just like you would, which means your automations finally have access to your team's actual knowledge base or playbook, right? It's like not a generic AI, but an actual curated and grounded, ever-growing memory. And that's the unlock for you. So let me also like try to explain this with a scenario. So imagine you are a mid-size company. Let's take like a healthcare company, right? So you get vendor pitches every week. Software companies trying to sell you their tools, right? So before you can work with any of them, someone on your team has to actually check what those pitches are and how they are against your internal rules. Where does the vendor store data? Do they use customer data to train AI models? So all of these kind of questions. Now, that's an hour or two of reading policy documents every time an inquiry comes in. Now, imagine there are like 20 inquiries like this. That's a full weeks of someone's time and work just doing lookups. Now, that's what we're going to build, and I'm going to show you how you can automate this entire thing in Workspace Studio. So an email will come in, Gemini will read it and extract the facts, and then NotebookLM will check those facts against the company's rulebook, and then it'll produce the full assessment, and all of this will pop on a Google Chat space so that the team can see that instantly. All right, so that's what we're going to see live. A quick disclaimer, all opinions are my own and do not belong to my employer. Okay, with that, let's get into it. All right, so this is the landing page of Workspace Studio in case you haven't seen it before. And you can actually create automation, and they call it the flows, right? So I'm going to click on this, and you can see that there are all of these triggers, right? So you can start when you get an email, when someone joins a space, etc. And then if you click on the step, these are all the things that you can do after that trigger happens, right? So you can obviously ask Gemini a question. That's where you're infusing AI to address that. You can also automatically take AI action. So this is some of the routines that I've already written. There are tools like check if and filter. And here is what you are seeing on the screen, which is brand new, which is NotebookLM, right? So this is the stuff that they have just recently added. And then once you're able to do this, you can actually add multiple things as well on top of it so that you can complete the step. So in order for us to understand this, what I've done is, let's say that the companies, as an example, is Meridian Health, right? Over the last few months or over a year, these are all the things that the team of the company have created, right? So these are all like, for example, this is a compliance red flag checklist. You will see that this is the data processing agreement standard. So all of these are some of the stuff that the company has built over time. And what you could do now is, instead of pointing the Workspace Studio to each one of these documents, what I've done is I've actually created this notebook, right? And I've uploaded all of these documents directly. In this case, I just use PDF, but of course you are aware that in NotebookLM, you can upload all types of sources. And this is the name of the notebook that you have, right? So what I've done is, in order for us to run this demo, I've already created this flow, and I would actually show you that, right? So here, the step here is when you get an email, right? So here, if the email has partnership or vendor or proposal as a subject, right? So whenever I get an email like that from a vendor, Then what I want to do is I'm going to ask Gemini, read the sales email below and extract the following facts. I want to know the company name, what are they selling. So this is basically I'm asking Gemini to go ahead and read the email body. So you can see that you can ask, you can actually do that. And I'm completely grounding this up. I've not selected the web search here so that it remains grounded. Then as next step, I have gone ahead and added the notebook. So you have the capability to actually go ahead and select any of the notebooks available. And then I've given this detailed prompt, right? So you're helping Meridian Health team review an incoming sales email. Below is a structured summary of the email extracted by an earlier step. For each concern you flag, tell us which document and section in the rule book it is a problem, recommend what to do next, and then also identify who specifically needs to be involved. So I've given a very interesting and detailed prompt. And then all I'm doing is I'm adding this at step 2 as the variable. So you can see that variables can be added over there, right? And then I could either draft an email or notify in the chat. So I'm just going to delete this one. And you will see that I'm going to say that, okay, notify me in the chat. Okay, so you can see that this is the kind of message I'm expecting, right? So new vendor inquiry, and then I already have the automated assessment. It is extracting this from this email, and then this is the rulebook assessment. So that is the flow within Workspace Studio that I've created. It's the automation which uses AI as well as uses the permanent sort of memory via NotebookLM. So what we're going to do next is you will see that I will actually send an email. And then once it sees the email, it will automatically complete this workflow and send us a Google chat. So let's see once the email arrives. All right. So now I am in Google Workspace and in Gmail, and I want to show you how when this. All right, so now I am in Google Workspace and I want to show you live what happens once the email arrives, right? So you can see live that the email just arrived and the subject is partnership proposal, and this is Marcus, etc. Where we process data, how we improve our service, what is our DP, etc. Right? So this is what the email says. Now what we will do is we will see this live within this. So what I can do is I can hit on the test run, and you can already looking at this email because that's the first email that it sees. I'm going to just start the process, right? So the first thing is it has received this, and now it is actually following this particular step, which is it is going with Gemini. So it is going to take that action of step 2 and it's going to follow that particular prompt that we had given, right? So it has responded to the prompt. It has identified the name, what they're selling, what are their claims, etc., and agreement requested. So it is able to perform exactly what we had expected of it, right? Now, this is the next step, which is NotebookLM. It has given a pretty detailed answer. It's at a high risk vendor that should be rejected in its current state. This is the assessment, compliance concerns, all of these things, right? So recommended action, reject, and stuff like that. And then it has notified me in the chat. So let me go back here, and there you go. So this is the chat, and it has provided all of those details directly in the chat, right? So that is what I was expecting to see, that it will run the entire flow. And then folks do not have to actually go inside the studio, right? It is actually an automation, but you can see that the decisioning is done with the combination of NotebookLM's knowledge plus obviously the Gemini's extraction power. And that is how you combine both NotebookLM and Workspace Studio together. So I hope this was helpful. And if you're using both of these tools, you're able to leverage this now. Obviously, if you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section. And if you like the video, do hit that like button as well. And if you're new, please do subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.